Hello. Good afternoon, sexy souls. We are going to do a weekend tarot reading. Hold on. I'm just trying to organize some stuff over here because that thing was in the way. ADD, get distracted easily. Anyways, okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a weekend tarot reading. If you want to stick around to see if it's for you, awesome. If not, then have a fabulous day. For those who are sticking around, a friendly reminder. I don't think I did this the last time. Last reading was like, geez, God. And like when I tell you I do readings sometimes and I'm like, nope, I'm not posting it. Like I was this close and they're like, post it anyways. I was like, who the fuck is it going to get to? It may be one of those where it's future time, like, in the future, it resonates with some, I don't freaking know. But I was just like, okay. But it was I was so involved in it that I forgot to do my little spiel. So I'm not going to forget today. You are a sovereign being over your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. My recommendation is to never Cinderella shit to make it fit. Okay? Fantastic. They won't let this go. There was something that I got coming into it, and I was like, let's not focus on the negative, and they won't let it go. So I'm going to have to say this, and this might be how you know this is for you. It doesn't feel like it's going to play into the message because the energy of whatever's coming through for the weekend feels really good. So I was getting energy and glimpses of somebody kind of like conjuring things up in their head, like little scenarios. You know, like people who have big imaginations will sometimes just like be sitting there daydreaming in some weird scenario, like something where you start crying. I saw a TikTok the other day where somebody was like, totally imagined my husband passing away and me giving his eulogy and blah, 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 and what I would say, even though he's perfectly healthy, well, in the other room. It's like, those kind of things where people will, like, something just gets planted into your mind. It just comes up. It's not even like necessarily a real thing. Like a scenario plays out. And it's like, I was getting this sense that somebody was having that just so that someone was experiencing frustration and just anger is the way, like whatever scenario they were playing out in their head is kind of like would rile up some bit of anger and angst so that they could go like, oh, they wanted to feel it, like when you can't play out justice in your life, however that may be, and not necessarily with a particular person, but given the circumstances of the world right now, when you feel powerless, you can conjure up and think of scenarios that help you to feel more powerful, like taking your power back. When you are limited and there's blockages and scenarios that you're having to endure that you don't have any kind of influence over, or you don't really have sufficient enough influence, as in you alone cannot change the circumstance, you will think of scenarios in your head, not everybody, but a lot of people do this, just so that you can kind of play it out where you are able to have justice in that scenario, right? Where you can express rage, angst, frustration, you can fight back in whatever way makes you feel less limited. You know what I mean? And so I was getting that kind of a sense, like somebody is, which I think there's a lot of people right now. And you see this happening on social media. People are playing out some stuff where it's like, they're definitely saying some things. And I get it. Like, and honestly, sometimes when they say, I'm like, I agree with you. And sometimes we're like, oh, it's just rage bait. And it's like, there's nothing else people can do right now other than to, in some form or fashion, feel like they're reclaiming sovereignty, right? over destiny, over the path of humanity, over, their own current circumstance, their own worldview. Like, it's like, and there's times in life when we are not capable of acting on our beliefs, and the world around us does not reflect that which we hold dear and true. And so this is just the feeling of, same as somebody would play something out in their head. This is part of the reason why you see some really dramatic, off the wall, sometimes severe behaviors out of people on social media. Now, there's mental health issues, and then there is the us versus them, all those different scenarios where it's like people are trying to reclaim something, and at least not, there's not much they can do other than express themselves, and to the degree at which they are experiencing something can be the degree in which they express themselves. So it's kind of the same scenario. And I felt like somebody has come to that recollection that they do that because nowhere else in their life, or it feels as though nowhere else in their life. And there are times where that is very, very true. This idea of, oh, that's just your perception. No. Let's go back to tell that to Auschwitz and things like that, right? Like, tell that to the people who endured, and people that continue to endure things today. That's not true. There are circumstances in the world that we live in where we lack utter and total power in situations and circumstances, and have zero ability to influence personal outcomes at times, And so to deny that would be to not acknowledge the yin and yang. Okay. So I just wanted to say that, but it feels like somebody is at the point where they are acknowledging that, and as such are not buying into the emotional drama of what these thoughts, scenarios, and things like that previously had brought up. Because I do feel like somebody feeling like being perfectly okay in the day, and then either tapping into social media and seeing it play out there, or having something conjure in your mind, and it changes your energy and your emotions for that day. And so I feel like somebody has detached from that because they finally seen that for what it is. Like, it goes beyond just saying, oh, I'm neurodivergent, I have OCD, da, da, da. It wasn't just my brain needed dopamine. It's, I feel powerless. And so that's the reason why my emotions, my mood, my vibration and frequency can change on a dime, is because there is repressed expression. And acknowledging and recognizing that sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of fucking times, expression isn't just the words that you say. I know at times in my life, and I've known people that could say something a million times, and it never gratifies or satiates the need for expression in a situation because it's insufficient. Words can be very empty. And so this idea of, like, sometimes people are like, you need to talk to somebody. I've known people in therapy for 20 years. Let me tell you, the talking doesn't necessarily, like, situations and circumstances have to fucking change. They have to change. And so that's kind of what this is also, is that something, that's what it is. Something absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, has to change. that there's not a coping mechanism given the dynamic and situation in a person's life that is going to be able to bring them into resolution, harmony, or feeling at their fullest expression. When someone cannot live freely as themselves, there's no amount of words, even though sometimes we frequently turn to that as it may be our only means, which seems to be being trampled on in today's society and being taken away to a large degree. So even that is no longer, or soon to become no longer, an option if things go on the trajectory. So we have to understand that, like, whatever, so I guess it does play in, because I was like, they stopped at someone who's acknowledging a seeing and not playing into those emotions. So I thought, oh, okay. I don't know why that's important, but you know what I mean? Like, I will debate the shit out of something with my spirit team. Okay. I'm not a much of a conformist. I don't care who you are, spirit or otherwise. That would be the Lilith in me. And so, yeah, definitely dark feminine energy showing up for today's read. Dark does not mean negative or evil, as some people. It's just the more dense, weighted, shadowy aspects of something. So I guess the idea is that there's something has to change. And maybe this is just an acknowledgement for whoever that there's no amount of crying, speaking, processing that is going to make things better, more harmonious, or manageable. The only recourse at this point, and again, you are engaging in things that is a coping mechanism. Because sometimes, and I'm not trying to diminish the fact that people can tap into the collective. There's a lot of people that can feel, even people who are not generally would ever say they're empathic, they can feel it in the air. They feel it as they walk and move and things like that. Okay, let's table that for just a few seconds. So this is the idea that for who this is for, and again, we're going back into I think the location change, because you cannot stay in that situation. You cannot stay in that circumstance. The only thing is to remove yourself from that, to go, to move, to leave, to get out of that environment, to get out of that scenario or whatever it is. That's the only recourse. And so spirit it has to change. And I want to say, I feel it deeply, especially right here in my solar. And so I'm like, I feel like whoever has detached from the emotions, you know what? This is sounding very familiar to a conversation. I just, following that, I'm like, okay. Anyways, you know, sometimes we wish that certain things weren't brought up from our personal life as a reader, because you really want to feel like you are delivering something for somebody else. And sometimes when anything too familiar comes into the reading, you feel like, oh, am I like, you know what I mean? And so you're trying to keep everything really clean. You want to remove certain personal influences and things, but sometimes we're all going through it right fucking now. So I guess it's really hard for spirit to separate, especially as of late. The reader from the message sometimes. Anyways, so the only recourse right now is something has to change, and whoever I'm saying this for feels it as well, knows it as well. But I feel like, when everything is just hustling and bustling and everything else like that, and people are talking and yapping and all kinds of stuff happening around you, and finally somebody's just like, in those movies, they yell and scream and everything just stops. Like, when you're like those movies where like the friend group is just or a family vacation, and it's like, and somebody has to, and it's like, enough. But they're showing me somebody walking through life and just stopping. And it's like the words spoken, enough, everything is standstill. Like both environmentally, like in this realm, and spiritually speaking. So it's like whoever this is for, you have the attention of your spiritual team. They want me to specifically bring in your ancestors. You have their attention. And for whatever reason, because it's so quiet, it's almost like you could, like, my thought was, so is the answer going to come through them? Because it's through the quiet. But they're bringing me back to the way that it feels in my solar plexus. It's like, all the times where sometimes you can say, I really want this and I'm ready, and you can say it a million times. And you can be as close can be to being ready. But then there's the moment where it's like, wait for it. And then it's like, okay, they really mean it now. Like, to your core. Like, the only move you're willing to make is the move to get out. I don't want to hear any other message. I don't want to hear any other noise. I don't want to feel any other emotions. I don't want to engage in any other scenarios. I don't want to contemplate any possibilities. The very next step I take is the one to get me out. Because enough is enough. Okay, I didn't expect that shit to fucking channel like that. That absolutely can apply to so many situations, circumstances, people. And I think we're all, again, I've been talking this year about how much the collective and the individual is, like, I could deliver a message for the collective and it can sound so personal. Whatever is happening is melting through the various levels of experience, the micro, the meso, the macro, the meta, right? Like, it's at every level of understanding, personal, collective, and so things will hit at so many different levels, same message, so many levels, even within your own life, even in this very moment. It's like you can see it, how that would be a message for this, and this. And so take it, I know y'all love it, how it resonates and how you need to receive the message, okay? Because I think that whatever you are done with playing things out in your head, either so that you can feel heard and express whatever is going on, because I feel shackled, I feel powerless, yet understanding how powerful I am. Like, think of Marvel movies when the Sandman, one of them, where he was put into this dome that supposedly, was it Sandman or who was it? There's several times. They always have like a containment unit that's supposed to subdue somebody's power, right? And they're bringing this up, and it always works until it doesn't, right? Either something external comes in and turns the thing off, or disrupts the mechanism, or something within that person finally finds a way to break free. But for a time it works. And that's what it feels like they're showing me that one of those superheroes with, super soldier serum or some, whatever it is. They're showing me the Void from the Thunderbolts or the New Avengers. The Void, and how everything, anyways, we're not going to go there. So just that. So I think that's where we're picking up, because it is the moment of now. Enough is enough now. And someone has stopped and like, I'm not taking another step unless it's the step to break free. Okay. So and the funny thing is, the energy feels really good, feels big, and positive. So I wonder how that's going to play into, maybe what's coming through is the very next thing that comes through for you is the thing, because enough is enough. So we're going to start with Hermetic Tarot. Sorry, they're just giving me, I'm seeing stuff, but I'm like processing the energy of it. It's so funny because my friends and my family will know because I'll just be moving and like, I'll just like freeze, and I don't realize how much they can see me receiving information until they say something, because I've literally had friends and family go, did you get something just now? What just came through? You know what I mean? And I'm like, at the most random times when I'm not even trying. And I'm like, oh, did you see that? Because I stare off. Anyways, it didn't flip, it didn't come out. But let's take a look at it to see exactly what it is. 6 of Wands. Let's remember that energy, okay? Well, the thing to free you. You've been caught up in the top of the tower, and something's bringing that tower down. So the thing that has the dome, it's funny that I said that, the dome that has kept you powerless or has kept your power in check, has prevented you from using your utmost power, is about to come down. Something is about to come crashing down. Now, whether that's from within or from without, I don't know. I feel like it's without. I feel like, because the idea is that that it works for a period of time. You didn't lose your power. It's still with you. I can feel that. Spirit's saying that. So it's not like you've handed your power away or like you're powerless. It's just that something else has overpowered you, or I feel like you've been removed from something that can fuel your power. So it's definitely an isolation thing, like being up in the top of the tower. You want me to have, because I was going to think about like examples, but they want me to move ahead. So the tower is coming down. They just said brick by brick. Like, see how this is one where it's like exploding? Like it's just coming down. But it's not brick by brick. But it's bringing I heard brick by brick, but it's not like one brick at a time is being removed. It's instantaneously, because they're showing me like all the debris flying. So brick by brick. I don't know what that was for, and they won't let me change it. So I guess we'll understand in just a minute. Oh. Spirit's been building to this moment. Something's been happening. Spirit's been building the momentum brick by brick to bring this whole thing down. Now let's not get overzealous, because we would love to take this to a meta level, especially in the US, of how like, oh, we're wanting to go towards one very particular thing, and it's like, it's all going to happen. And it's like, I think that this is, think of Marvel again. When the person that is in the contained mechanism, or containment unit, or whatever it is, they frequently get freed to join forces with others, or to join in on something else. So I feel like the brick by brick is to free individuals, or you, so that you can become a part of the greater unit that then brings that bigger thing down. So I'm thinking like Winter Soldier in the containment unit, but then he's released in order to join work with the Avengers at some point, and brings down, whatever. Why? Yeah. Oh my God, I see the emblem and everything. All my Marvel fans are going to be like, girl, because I want to say the word. But anyways, whatever larger structure that's in place, the individuals have to be freed before something the bigger toppling happens, right? So I do want to say we are probably focusing. It sounds we want this to be applicable. In fact, what I think is this is going to play out on an individual level, and then when individuals, you'll also see this at a later point play out at a more macro level. So, so that's the Tower, the Moon, unseen forces. That absolutely can acknowledge things that have been occurring, the brick by brick. But this says flux and reflux, and this is the idea of ebb and flow. For every period of stagnation, there's a period of growth. Like, it's that yin yang type of scenario, right? And this isn't visible at the time, at this point for somebody. But you're not moving. You're not moving. You're not budging an inch. And so like the very next thing that better come through is what I'm getting is the way to break free. Okay, let's pull a couple. So what you don't see, the Moon card, is the Seven of Pentacles, which is you don't see yet something breaking through. So again, that containment unit, something breaking through. Because the idea of Seven of Pentacles is things have been happening. Like the Seven of Pentacles is things setting up shop and taking root in order to be able to, there's a fucking wasp. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's probably important for somebody. That means something. Seven of Pentacles is when something finally breaks ground. It breaks through. So, and again, with this particular tower, like the lightning bolt, it's something powerful enough to break through. but there are circumstances that had to happen prior to build up the charge of the lightning bolt, right? I wanted to say thunderbolt, but so the Seven of Pentacles is right before the Knight of Swords, which is the pivot, which is the 180, the cutting clear, free of something. It is the pivot, the change, the 180, the total, utter, can't come back from change. The Knight of Swords is. The winds of change. So it's kind of like something happens to penetrate this, where the unknown then suddenly becomes known. And to me, the Seven of Pentacles would be that first step. Like it wasn't visible and it's suddenly now visible. And it is the winds of change. It is the pivot. It is the thing that gives you the 180. It is what completely cuts something out. You are getting cut out of hermit isolation. We talked about with the tower. Because something cut you off from the things that would feed your power, your seat, your place of power within yourself. Because, you know, like I'm getting this sense of like being in very stagnant waters and having to doggy paddle just to keep your head above water. But when you, like, let's say, not a dam, but like when you're in moving water, that moving water adds to your momentum and ability and capacity, right, to do something, as opposed to stagnant water where you are literally having to expend all your energy just to keep your head above water. Okay, so there's this breaking out of and complete change from isolation, this containment unit that you've been in. Knight of Cups, Universe. Okay, so we're going to pull these ones out first. Okay, these things are making sense. They're going together, actually. So we have the Tower with the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is this idea of something new, invigorating, promising, coming in, right? Because the Knight of Cups is the number one card for me as a tarot reader of something being on offer, something penetrating your field. That's why I was feeling something external. It's not that you had to drum up more power. You were cut off from anything that could help you amplify your power. Okay, and so something comes in to disrupt this containment unit that has kept you. So it's like a source. There's a source of something. So it's penetrated and then by this thing that brings in a source of power. And again, like the fact that I'm using water as stagnant versus moving water, right? The Tower is completely removed from any kind of water. You're not even like in stagnant waters. You were removed utterly from something. And so you didn't have any of it. It's the sustenance that you are needing in order to have strength. Much like we can go much longer without food than we can water. As human beings, it's the idea that is the thing that helps to sustain us. So to be deprived of it. Okay. So it does feel like something external coming in to penetrate whatever this containment unit is. The Moon and the Universe. I feel options with the universe. I feel expansion, which you couldn't do before. Again, something that wasn't visible, that wasn't on offer, that you didn't have access to, that you were unaware of. Because of the containment, it comes in, it comes through. There's something more to the universe. Hold on. So the moon is kind of like getting a glimpse of something, not everything completely revealed, but that is also the idea of the Seven of Pentacles. Something finally breaks through. It's not the full, like when you plant seeds in the garden, it's not the full fruited plant, but you now, okay, my hair is in my mouth. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel. So what starts out as something being revealed and shown the way ends up, like whatever is revealed and shown ends up opening up all kinds of doors. Ends up more than just putting you on a path. It gives you the world. A whole new world, which is what you're looking for. Universe, okay, so this is the expansion. This is a move. This is the move, the world card. Universe in this deck is the world card, and it's like, that's you. That's freedom of movement. So whatever comes in to penetrate your containment unit shines enough light for you to be able to move. What was once stagnant, again, begins to move. It breaks ground. And I think that, because the Seven of Pentacles is, in this deck, it's called unfulfilled success, meaning that it took so long to cultivate, took so long to get to this moment. Sometimes we plant things and we're like, why hasn't anything sprouted? Like, just because you plant something doesn't mean it comes to fruition. And so the idea is that sometimes you think you have failed, that something's not going to happen because of the time and what it took to have something build up, the brick by brick. That you spend so much time in the containment unit, you think there's no way out. And so there's fears that will naturally, that have grown over time. Is the caged bird, or the caged lion, where they've been in captivity for so long, and the door is finally free, the door is finally open, and they don't trust it, they don't believe it. Even once they step through initially, it's like you would think that they just take off. I've seen so many videos where it's like the animal that was in captivity will still behave as if they're in captivity until they realize. But there's a lack of trust at first. So when this happens and it's opened up for you, you may have fears surrounding that. Because it's like they're showing me a chained animal, remembering all the times it tried to run and got yanked the fuck back, and reminded of how contained it was. And so they don't attempt to run, even though it seems like, because they believed too many times before that they could run, that they were free, and they attempted and they got yanked right the fuck back by it. And so there's these fears and anxieties when this reveals itself and it breaks ground and it shows itself as being something that you're free, that you can run, that you can go. So like the idea is Like you're like, enough is enough. I'm not going to move until I know what the next move is. But even when it shows up, you're going to hesitate. You're going to feel like, is this real? Are we sure? Can I? Like, I don't know. It's going to take a moment, it feels like, because again, you've seen other times where you thought you could see the way to run out and you couldn't. And what happens if you run and you get yanked back? There's something about that. You feeling like, if I attempt to take off, I'll just get yanked right the fuck back. But something is going to cut the cords. The Knight of Swords comes charging in to free and cut something out so that freedom can be obtained, but that utter change occurs. You're going to be given the sword that the Knight of Swords wields. It's as if something comes in, charges in, the winds of change come in, and they give you the weapon to defend yourself, to completely cut yourself free. So whatever penetrates you and your situation is going to give you the means to ensure your freedom. You'll be able to cut yourself the chains off of you so that you don't get yanked back. So whatever was yanking you back, you will set yourself free from. You will be able to cut those chains and give yourself a clear path. And then leave isolation to find your community. We have the Three of Pentacles, to find where you do belong. Because there's something about the Three of Pentacles where it's community. It's community. It is connection, collaboration, cooperation. It includes the other energies that you did not have access to that would have fueled your abilities, which is why you were cut off from them. Okay. Okay. So it's like when the Knight of Swords comes in, you are given that sword. It's not like something comes in and does it for you and then leaves. And that's probably why. Because before, that's how you got yanked back. Something like you would think, okay, I'm free, but like you were never given the sword to ensure your freedom, to ensure that the tether was cut. So something's being placed directly in your hands that will guard you against that. All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Knight of Cups and the Seven of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords. That's what I want. That's what I want, Spirit. Knight of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Okay, but we're going to start with this. Starman Tarot, Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is the Ace of Swords. Give me more. The Knight of Cups frees you. It'll free you from lack. Five of Pentacles. Again, damn near everything was kept from you, right? You were up in the tower. You were in the hermit. You were isolated. A Knight of Cups brings you the means. We said the Ace of Swords is the means to keep yourself free. So whatever it is that you needed to be your most powerful is what they can bring in, is what they are bringing in, is what is penetrating your field. That could be, for some, they're at their best when they are able to have fun and enjoy themselves. And of course, it seems like all the joy has been sucked out of life in a lot of areas. And so it could be joy and fun and enthusiasm and something that conjures up childlike joy, like, or wonder, you know what I mean? Like, it could be that. It could literally be money. It could literally be housing for something. Like, it could be any number of things. But it is the means. So it's kind of like it comes in, it initiates change, but it's going to stick around because you get to have it. We're still on the Knight of Cups. Six of Wands. Success. It will ensure success. Victory. Well, what is the Knight of Cups? Person, place, thing. Something new and tangible in your life that you've known was meant to come in. Because we have where it was, again, it's been growing underground, as in the Seven of Pentacles. This is the Ace of Pentacles. But you notice all these roots and how the book is down here, like you've known this should happen or this would happen or needed to happen. You've seen it, you've understood it, but you were cut off from it. But now the book has reached reality. So what you knew to be true, downloaded or otherwise, becomes reality. And it is the epitome of your new start, the egg. So like we got several eggs underground. So that's the new beginning. Reaching reality. So something that has been, which we kind of knew with the moon. I keep hearing Eureka. Like it's kind of like finally. So to me, the Knight of Cups isn't just something where it was wishful thinking. You knew. It's like, this should have been here by now. This should have happened by now. What is going on? What's happening? I don't get it. It could be a person. It could, again, a number of things. Like, why can't I feel joy? Why can't I connect with anything to bring, like, what is going on? You knew something was supposed to happen to change this situation, but it hasn't. When I tell you, we need to get to the point, Spirit, because we're at 49 minutes. I want to get more specific, if we can, about the Knight of Cups. So there's victory in it showing up in your reality finally. Page of Pentacles. My second card, if I were to think of something on offer. Now, every night can be kind of interpreted that way, but you know, like, it always gives me the image of something on offer, something. So this is, it starts, something becomes tangible in your life. Again, the Page of Pentacles, to me, is the Seven of Pentacles. in this scenario. Seven of Pentacles is something breaking into your reality. Like it finally comes into your reality. But the idea is this Page of Pentacles looks a lot like the Empress. She's very pregnant, for those who aren't aware of this deck. And there's a shit ton of eggs down here. And then there's the red ruby slipper, like as in Wizard of Oz. Like when she clicks her and she's able to go home. So whatever the Knight of Cups is, there's something much more promising other than just breaking you free. Again, which is why it feels as if this is something that sticks around. Like you're handed the sword. But I also, with all these eggs, it's like this is not the only new beginning. Again, all these eggs remind me of the universe. There's so much potential with this. It definitely brings you back home to yourself. But I feel like saying because you need to get out of this circumstance, it's like you get to, because she's pregnant, you get to create home, you get to find home and create from there. So I think that this absolutely is about getting out of a situation, circumstance, but let's broaden that into getting out of an environment specifically. And remember when Dorothy realizes that she had the ability to go home the entire time they were on her feet, she just clicked her heels? Oh, why are they bringing that up? Like you just needed to know. She didn't know. So for some people, you could be cut off. Like your ability to utilize your power in a situation was just the knowledge of something, needing to know something, to use it to your advantage. Okay. What about the Seven of Pentacles? I know that kind of came through, but let's clarify the Seven of Pentacles. Son of a biscuit. Queen of Wands. The Alien. High Priestess. Damn. Seven of Pentacles is finally breaking free. Is the epitome of getting out of that containment unit, but seeing it for what it is. The Alien always talks about coming home to the self. The High Priestess is who you are. I think who you are is both the Queen of Wands, always considered the most in tune with her magic and her power. She is the Queen of Power. She sits squarely on her throne of power. She knows her capacity and uses it. It's like getting back on your throne. So this is whoever, so it's coming, so that's why, okay, thank God, the coming home. You get to come home to yourself. Whatever it is that comes through on the Knight of Cups that penetrates your containment unit, put you back on your fucking throne. You get placed back in a position of being able to use all your faculties, all your influence, all your power again. But there is this reminder that you may not realize it at first, or you might be timid to use it because it's getting the caged bird or the caged animal that's uncertain. So whatever the Knight of Cups is, once your containment unit, whatever has kept you powerless or isolated, is penetrated, like you may feel like you may not see yourself as having the ability. The thing that the scenario that they're giving me, right, is like, let's say that you need to get out of somewhere because somebody, like, let's say you have an ex that's unhealthy, but you can't because you have some kind of like child custody, or you have some kind of legal obligation or something like pending things. Either the information comes through where you're like, oh, I can leave, and you do, or like a preemptive order because the divorce isn't done yet. Preemptive order comes through saying you're allowed to, so now you have the authority. Like the other person can't use the courts to keep you from doing something. It's like, it could be that whatever penetrates your field is that you get information on the other, on a situation, and you don't realize you can use it to your advantage to cut yourself free. If you catch my drift. You just may not recognize to what degree this cuts you free. So there's a moment of, even once this happens, you don't realize what this means for you and what you can do as a result of it. But you will figure it out, because once this penetrates you and your confidence, power is restored, when you feel like you're fully, because the idea of the Queen of Wands is I stand in my fucking power. Once you feel the immensity and like you're standing in your power again, it's going to come to you, the High Priestess. You're like, oh, you're going to know what to do. You'll know. You'll figure it out once you come home to yourself. Once you realize and can feel that something is restored within you, it's like everything just comes back online. Because the High Priestess is kind of like, oh, I know what to do with this. Oh. Okay. And so tell me about the Ace of Swords. Because how does this end up being, and I guess that's what it is. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to be able to use something to your advantage to ensure that you are permanently cut free from that which used to yank you back. Tell me more about the Ace of Swords. Oh, the Sun. It's the yes card. It is the ultimate in clarity. I want to pull more. I've got like 10 things going through my head, and I'm like, let's bring this down, make it more concise so that it's burning bridges. It's not just severing the tie, it's burning the bridge. Because they're showing me the sun like setting something ablaze. Because they brought, to clarify the Ace of Swords, it's the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is what brought in the Ace of Swords, the winds of change. And the idea written on him, it says no rules on his, it's carved in his body, no rules, which means there are no limitations. You may have, again, preconceived things of like, you think there's these limitations, but they no longer exist. They no longer exist. There's no rules. Just power to wield the sword. He also has on him, carved in him, victory. The sun is the ultimate power. You can choose how to wield that sword. Once you break free and the winds of change happen, you have the power. Because we have the Empress, Two of Swords, King of Pentacles. So the Knight of Swords, I mean, the Ace of Swords is truth. For somebody out there, you're getting something that changes everything. It's like information / truth that puts you in the position of authority, that puts you back in power of a situation or circumstance, that gives you the leverage to do what the fuck you want to do. And it's almost like permanently being able to do that. This gives the energy of whatever that containment unit was, because something is known now, it will never be able to contain again. It's almost like it loses its ability, its power to contain. So like power is stripped. That's the reason why the Ace of Swords very well might be a truth for some that makes you, because the Knight of Swords is also one that gets to cut something out permanently. It's permanently cutting out somebody else's power or a situation's power. Which means I just feel like saying you'll hold the power in this situation. You'll have the power to do whatever it is that you want. Empress is, I heard go and grow in whatever direction you want to. Again, Two of Swords is the idea of kind of like that moment, that pause, which reminds me of the Nine of Swords, where you're like caged bird, don't realize you can fly free. And it may be a bit daunting when you realize, because there's no limitations, you can choose whatever fucking direction you want to go. Might be a bit daunting to make that decision, which is the Two of Swords. But the world is your oyster as the Empress, and you can create the life that you want. That's the King of Pentacles. That motherfucker, he's that king because his life is exactly as he created it. He mastered the other kings. It's exactly as he wanted it. He made his reality his reality. So some of the fears may be when you get the opportunity to finally choose and decide, being fearful to make a decision when there's so many at hand, and because you fear the yank back. But you have something, whatever it is that broke you free, that will keep you in the position of never, whatever the Knight of Cups is, that frees you, that penetrates everything and brings in the winds of change. It's whatever it is, will ensure your freedom. Whether it's information, connections, a person, the joy and enthusiasm, it's going to, because once you're back in your power, the thing about the Knight of Cups is when you're the one in the containment unit and you see something completely break something apart, that containment unit doesn't have the power anymore because you now know its weakness. You will forevermore be able to free yourself. You'll never be able to be caged again. And because you so well know what put you in that position to begin with, where something found a way to be more powerful or like subvert your power in order to be able to contain you, because these individuals have to somehow be lured into the containment. I mean, like a marble, you know what I mean? It's as if it can't happen again. All right, I'm going to pull a few more cards from New Era Elements, and then we're wrapping this bad boy up. I was saying in my head, I was like, Ace of Swords with the Three of Pentacles, and Three of Pentacles came back out again. Something about the right community around you helps to keep something away. The community, the collective, the connections, the network gives you such comfort that you no longer exist in the Five of Cups. Like the fear of something being able to contain you is gone. I think that's what the Five of Cups is that the fear, again, of the yank back, the fear of being contained, the fear of the lack of freedom or something having more power than you. But when, just as someone can figure out how to subvert your power in order to be able to try and contain you, you figured out how to how to bring down or their weakness. And so whatever that containment unit is, I keep saying the same shit over and over again. I'm trying to, because we got the Four of Cups, comfort with the fight. Like you're no longer afraid of it. You're just no longer afraid of it. And then the Three of Pentacles can be work. It can be stability. It can be visibility. It can be, finances growing and building. It can be any of those things, but I think it's mostly a new environment because it's not about, again, in the very beginning, it's not about what you can do. This isn't one of those things where you could do something about it. I just feel like, because we're talking about connections and community, you're never going to go back. I'll tell you that much. When you get out of this environment, you will never fucking go back. You will never find yourself in that position ever again. And something about your community will never let you do that again. You can rest assured. This is what this feels like. Rest assured. You will have, because again, in the beginning, it was the idea of you didn't have access to the thing that amplified your power. And I think that's the right environment, the right people, the right circumstances. You are leaving it fucking behind. Eight of Cups. Leaving this situation behind and never looking back. Knight of Wands. This is going to happen very quickly, very fast. Spirit is asking you not to hesitate for too long. It might take a moment for you to realize that the power is back in your hands and nothing can stop you. But they are asking you to move swiftly and quickly. The Knight of Wands doesn't hesitate. Remember, he's my shit or get off the pot energy. He is the one that is like, you can't contain him. You can't stop him. And it's not that he's always impulsive. He doesn't hesitate. Do not fucking hesitate to leave. When they give you, because you stopped, you're like, enough is enough. You're about to get it. You're about to get the move. You're about to get the means. Whatever it is that you need. Someone's going to penetrate the field. You're going to be given the power, and you need to act. The Knight of Wands will fucking act. He does not hesitate. I'm not going that much longer. Okay. Any very last... So we have defeat and failure that came out in the reverse. We also had this that came out in reverse. Grief, defeat, and failure will be no longer if you choose to act. Two of Wands is the epitome of making the choice on the action to take and following through. It is a follow through. It is the follow through card, but you have to choose to follow through. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. I do want, okay, so there is a bit of a timing where like Knight of Wands comes through. Again, whatever this is, gives you the utter, give me a word, utter power in this situation to do what it is you want. But I just heard the word playbook. It's going to give you the playbook too. I think that's why the High Priestess came out. You're going to know exactly what to do. You just got to do it. You don't behave like the caged bird. You are free. Utilize it. All right, I hope this finds whoever it's meant for. I hope you'll have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in the next read.